Hi everybody. I hope most of you enjoyed my last video. Not a lot has changed since then. I still haven't obviously seen the stylist. This is probably the longest my hair has been, and I don't know how long. And my health is about the same. We're working on things, but I'm still pretty much laid up, which may have something to do with me doing these videos. I probably have more time on my hands than I'm used to. But I really think the reason I'm doing this is because there's a very strong driving force in me, the sense of obligation to share my opinion, because I feel like I do have a lot of common sense, and I think logically, and I really think that my beliefs are pretty mainstream, and I think the majority of Americans would agree with me for the most part. So with our country being so divided right now, it's very important for me to share these thoughts that I have, and maybe start uniting us again based on some of those beliefs. I do have a little bit of experience with racism. I actually went to kindergarten in Lansing, Michigan, and I don't remember there being too many white kids in our school. In my kindergarten class, I was the only white person. My best friend, her name was Hope, and she had all these cute little braids all over her head with all these different colored barrettes, and I always thought it was the coolest thing. And she was my best friend at school. My older sister didn't have such a great time. She would have been, I was kindergarten, first, second, maybe third grade. She had very long white blonde, very white blonde hair, blue eyes, just a very pretty child. And I think that a lot of the African American boys had crushes on her. And so I think that created some jealousy with some of the girls. And there were actually occasions when we only lived a block away from the school. There would be occasions where she would be tied up to the monkey bars, hanging by her ponytails. These girls would tie her hair up and hang her there. And so I think she felt a lot of that as well as a child. For me, I didn't experience anything negative like that. In fact, my dream would be for this video to get shared so much, especially in Michigan. No saying that she's still there, but I would love to reconnect with Hope. I don't know her last name. We went to kindergarten together at Atwood Elementary School, and it would have been, I think, 1976. So if this could get spread far and wide, it would be a miracle for me to finally find out how her life turned out for her. So that would be great. Sorry, I gotta take a little drink here. Our best friends, my parents' best friends that lived next door to us, the dad, he was from Mexico, and they had a son that was in between ages between me and my older sister. So we grew up with him like a brother. And to this day, we stay in touch with him. His parents are both passed away now, but we still stay in close contact. And so again, I wasn't raised around any racism. My mom actually drove, well, I guess, I was, but maybe on the reverse side of it a little bit. My mom drove a school bus, in Lansing, and she didn't have any white kids on her bus, maybe one. And I think Magic Johnson actually rode her bus. And she had some bad experiences being, a white bus driver with a busload of African American kids. So she has some pretty crazy stories. There was, a lot of stuff going on back then, so my parents decided to move us back to Winona, Minnesota, which is a very small Midwestern town, and enrolled us in parochial school. So first grade for me was in a Lutheran parochial school with a total of 6 kids in my class. I don't think, and that would have been around 77, I don't think, and I don't remember seeing any, I don't think there were any African American people in that area at that time. I was raised then there in that area between Minnesota and Wisconsin. And I have a lot of family members that are very racist, and friends, and I've heard it all, and it's really sad to me because it just shows ignorance, really. My belief is that there's good and bad in everybody. One bad egg spoils, the pot. It shouldn't have to be that way. There's been some pretty horrific things that white men have done over the years, as well as African American. It doesn't seem to be just one specific race or religion or financial status that is the bad guy in our country. And I think we all know that. And I think we need to keep reminding ourselves of that, especially with what's going on right now with these protests and these riots. They're pretty close to home for me. I only live about 10 miles from Fort Lauderdale. It takes over our news, and breaks into TV almost every day with what's going on here and in Miami and around the area, and it's very sad. There's been some positive that I've seen where officers have taken off their tacked gear and walked with the protesters and knelt with them, and that's the kind of stuff we need to see more of. We're not seeing it at the highest levels of our government where we need to be seeing it. That's where our help should be coming from right now. The looting and the fires and the violence seem to be related to these domestic terror groups that use these peaceful protests as an excuse to go into an area and destroy. And I believe a lot of people know that. And I believe some of the highest people, some of our highest elected officials know that right now. What I don't understand is why aren't they doing anything about that? These peaceful protesters are having bad things happen to them in different cities across the country. But we don't hear our highest leadership talking about ideas to get, if we're so against terrorism, why aren't we making this enemy number one right now? stuff like that. That's the stuff that I think about, and that's the stuff that I think the majority of Americans think about. I think we all agree on that. I believe that, and I've been called naive before, but whatever. I'm not stupid, but sometimes maybe I'm more positive than most people. I really believe that us as citizens of the United States still have a say in who our elected officials are going to be. It seems like somewhere got lost along the way, the chance for us to choose who these candidates are that we'll eventually be voting on, the group to choose from. They're being pre-chosen by our existing government for us. Or it's whoever has the most money and can do the most marketing. We're getting career politicians. We're not getting the kind of people that are strong U.S. citizens that believe like you and I, and really truly want to get in there and bring our country back to the United States of America and make us a world power again. I think if all of us could really sit and think, I'm hearing people talk about what a hard time they're having about who they're going to vote for this year. They feel like they have to pick the lesser of two evils. And I'm thinking, this is going to be our commander-in-chief. This is the highest office in our country. This is somebody that's going to have the most power running our entire country for 4 years. And we're settling with the lesser of two evils. I'm not okay with that. Why are you okay with that? Why are any of us okay with that? There has to be a way. There's a lot of super smart people in the United States that know how the system works. And they have to be able to help guide us to be able to place the proper candidates that we feel are going to take the best care of us and this country and not put themselves first. And we need to be able to do this with every elected official and get these term limits put in place so we don't have these lifelong politicians. They have old school minds. They're not current on the problems that are new that we're dealing with now. We need up and coming adults that are current on what America needs and they know how to get it done. I played a game with myself and I thought, okay, Wendy, if it was up to me, if I could pick one person that I would want to run for President of the United States, and I thought about this a lot. I actually thought of Ellen Degeneres. Now, don't push the stop button or start scrolling on. Hear me out on this. I know she's a comedian, all of that. I realize that, but her whole theme in life is kindness and equality and helping the average American grow into their dreams. She doesn't see color. She doesn't see religion. She doesn't see financial status. She sees each person for who they really are. She's a woman. We need to get a woman in the White House. I know a lot of you aren't going to agree with me on that, but I think a woman, a smart, like Ellen, a very smart and intelligent woman that is very enterprising and dedicated and has built an empire and is loved, absolutely loved and adored by millions of Americans. Now, I'm not a huge Ellen Degeneres fan. I don't think I've ever even seen one of her shows fully from beginning to end. So that's not what this is about. This is me being open and logical and serious with you. Common sense. And you're going to say, well, she doesn't have any political background. Well, you know what? We've never had a president that has gone into office being an expert on everything they need to know. And on the other end of the spectrum, we've had presidents go in that have almost zero to, almost no political background. That's why they have a group of advisors that are experts in their field, that are hired by this president because they have the same beliefs and same goals and same values to get the job done. And they surround themselves with a power group. I think she would be phenomenal with foreign affairs, with meeting with other foreign leaders. And I guarantee you that her first State of the Union would probably break all ratings records in history. I bet it would be the most watched show in the history of since they've been keeping track. Maybe it's not a bad thing to have a little bit of a sense of humor when times are tough. Maybe it isn't so bad to crack a little joke to loosen the tension and take a deep breath and stand back and say, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's, take a deep breath and, let's go at it again. I could go on and on with why I think she would be the perfect candidate. I don't even know if she'd be interested. That's not even the point. I don't even know what her affiliation is. I don't know if she's Republican, Democrat, any of that. I don't even know. But I know what her values are. And I know that she is one of those people that loves people and wants to better the lives of people. And that's who we need running our country right now. That's the only kind of person we need running our country right now. Because if we stay this divided, or if we get more divided, we could be looking at another civil war. I don't know where you live, but where I live, I can see it. It's getting bad, and it's scary. And our current president, whether you're a fan of his or not, is fanning the flames and not doing what a proper president should be doing at this moment, and that is going on TV at night and reassuring the American people that they are in control and they know what they need to do to get this taken care of. That's not happening. And we all that know that's not happening. We need to fix this problem immediately. So if any of you know Ellen, please share this with her. We can at least ask, right? There's no harm in asking. Or maybe you have ideas. Why can't us as the the citizens of the United States, why can't we choose who we want to represent our country? I don't know that I'm going to be comfortable voting for the less of two evils. That should never be, and we should never be okay with that. And maybe it's the age I'm at now, maybe because I finally know myself and know who I am and what I stand for. I think it's our responsibility, all of our responsibility, to come forward and demand things change drastically and fast. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I think it was actually Sigmund Freud that said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting change is the definition of insanity. That's all we've been doing. We are the ones that have to inflict the change. These lifetime politicians are not going to do it. They're too comfortable. We have to unite, and we need to make the change that needs to happen. None of us were born racist. It was taught to us by somebody. And because it was taught to us, it can be unlearned. And we can all learn to love each other equally again. And we can have an awesome country. So please think very hard about this. And if you feel strongly about any of these topics, then please spread the word, because that's our obligation as American citizens. Please don't take that lightly.